Hello guys and welcome back to this F1 2016 career mode on the channel. We're doing part 8 today from Baku in Azerbaijan, the new street circuit on the F1 calendar. Going to see what all the fuss is about here. Also before we hit the track, going to see if we've got any upgrades available to us this weekend.
Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
Excellent news, just what you'd like to hear as a driver coming into a race weekend. We do have new parts fitted to the car. We've got a reduction of the chassis weight, 5 kilograms taken off. Refinements to the design of the engine cover result in a weight advantage without compromising engine performance or cooling. So that's good to see as we head into the race weekend. As you can see, we are first in the driver's standings. On the left hand side, you've got Ferrari bringing a few upgrades themselves into the mix, which is going to be interesting. As you can see from the car performance on the right, they've caught up a little bit to the Mercedes team, who are still quite far out ahead, but those two teams in particular way ahead of us. Although we are the third fastest team, we're not really in a position on outright pace, car wise, to be able to take the fight to them. But driver wise, we seem to be doing a good enough job. We're really in the mix here, leading the championship. Obviously it's really hard to keep up with those guys, but we'll do what we can. We've got to test the new parts on the track today, heading into practice, doing the practice program. Let's see what's in store for us at the start of this race weekend.
Welcome to the Baku City Circuit, where free practice for the European Grand Prix is about to get underway. This is a technical circuit which will nonetheless see some huge speeds, with a near flat-out final sector that's twice the length of the back straight in Shanghai. Let's see who can find the right balance in their setup today.
So of course, this new street circuit on the calendar, say first times on the F1 calendar, of course, in any year that we've done F1, so just getting used to the track as best we can. We've managed to get purple on the track acclimatisation, which is good to see. And then in the race run here, we've got all purples across the board as well, so not looking too shabby there, but obviously we just needed to see how the pace actually compares. So in the qualifying run, you can see we're actually only managing to go half a second under, which only got us a 42.5, which is only enough for a green lap, so we're still missing 3/10 for the purple, which we tried to push on the next lap. You can see we were 6/10 down, and coming through the final part of the lap, yeah, that kind of happened as we were pushing the limits of the car to see what's going on. However, we've hit the wall. That's been the end of our session. We didn't manage to get a purple qualifying simulation in there throughout the practice, so not the full amount of points available, but we've still managed to get a few in the bank there. So we're looking at a total of 254 after the practice session. But for now, we're going to be heading into qualifying, see what we can do there. So a little bit worried off the back of that practice session about the qualifying pace, but until we get into the nitty-gritty part of qualifying, we'll see just exactly where we stack up against the rest of these drivers.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway.
So we've got, looks to be intermediate conditions for the start of this qualifying session. You can see just how tricky it is. We're not even flat out through this left-right-handed section, but we've only got 2 minutes left of this Q1 session. We haven't set a lap time yet, but thankfully the intermediate conditions should do us a favour. From the races gone by in the season, anytime we've had wet or intermediate conditions, it's really helped us out in our pace. As he crossing the line, just over a second off Hamilton, who's P1 at the moment. However, that does mean we get through into Q2 with a P4 position there. So the Mercedes out front, Hamilton really dominating that first part of qualifying, but of course the main part is just making sure you get through into the second part. No real big names dropping out of Q1 there, as we're now going to be heading into Q2. See what the weather's like for that. And so it did start off with intermediates, and then it did dry out enough to get the super softs and dry tyres on. But say for us at least, it was still extremely slippery, it must be said, in terms of trying to get a lap in. And you can see just grazing the wall there as we come through the right-hander, just trying to minimise the time loss on this back straight flat out section of the track. But coming towards the line now, 41.0 is what we're aiming for. We're nowhere near that, and this is going to be our only run in qualifying. We've actually managed to only pick up P12 in Q2 with a 43.1, and that is it for qualifying. We are out of qualifying with a P12 grid slot. We are not going to be in the top 10 shootout for the first time this season. So we missed out by, what's that, about, well, quarter of a second or so there. And say that was we done what we could, but there was nothing more that I could really get out of the car. It was just sliding around too much, just a lack of traction, and the slippery track surface really didn't seem to do us any favours compared to the AI at all. But pretty disappointing from us, I say. Only a thousandth ahead of Fernando Alonso as well, so we're lucky to be even P12 on the grid there. But As I say, first time in the season we've not made it into the Q3 shootout, I believe. However, we'll have to see what we can do. Obviously, fresh tyres is not the end of the world for the race. Still building up a few resource points, which obviously we desperately need at this point in the season. You can see from that performance. And then in the rivalry update to Lewis Hamilton, we've been absolutely spanked so far. Now 5 points down to him. So we're going to have to see what we can do. So the race pace in practice didn't look too bad. We managed the purple lap times, which was fine. Obviously, we didn't manage the purple in the qualifying sim, which is where we have failed there. But let's have a listen to the race objectives from this grid position.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So finished the race in 7th place or higher, and obviously beat Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez. So obviously, team expecting us to move forward. I would certainly hope so. That's going to be the case, and that we will be moving forward from where we've qualified here. But as I say, fresh tyres to start the race on. Let's go onto the track then for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix around the streets of Baku. See what we can do. Different race compared to those gone by. We're in a different position compared to where we have been before. So uncharted territory. Let's see what's in store for this part 8 of the career mode.
Who would have imagined in those pioneering days of motor racing just how far and wide the love of speed and competition would spread? From Brands Hatch to Jerez to Valencia, the European Grand Prix has made its home all across the continent. And now a new era of this storied race brings us here, to the edge of the Caspian Sea.
So strategy-wise, it seems to be showing as a one-stop or two-stop, depending on how you can do with the tyre wear. Softest tyres being used as super soft and the softs. No mention of the medium tyres there. No rain on the horizon, which is good. Not too much time difference in the 1 and 2 stop. Let's say it's just going to be calling it on the fly really as we finish the formation lap here. Starting on the super soft tyres available, the softest tyre compound available, just to try and make up as many positions as we can at the start of this race. Obviously, whilst all the cars are bunched up, we need to get track position and then do what we can with the tyre wear from that point onwards. But for now, we've got to just try and make as many positions as we can on this first lap. It's going to be pretty hectic, I can assure you of that, as the 5 red lights are now coming on, building the revs, waiting for those 5 red lights to go out, and it's go time for part 8 of the career mode. Getting off the line pretty slowly in terms of the reaction time, but the grip from the super softs giving us some good track positioning compared to the cars around us, the likes of Button by the looks of things. So we've gone past here, we're up to P11, we've got Massa on our right, and then up ahead we've got side-by-side action between Bottas and Perez. Perez being forced a little bit wide, and we've got on the power nicely there to then pick up the slipstream from Bottas in the Williams ahead. Going up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen and Bottas here, the 2 Finnish drivers on the racing line. We're going to try and sneak up the inside, getting into P7 now with Rosberg just ahead. We've got Carlos Sainz, unbelievably, Carlos Sainz up in P4 at this early part of the race, with the race being led by Sebastian Vettel by the looks of things. So after the first sector or so, we're up into P7, which is a good start for us, just coming towards the end of lap 1 now, as we get awfully close to the wall on the exit of that left-hander, almost making the same mistake we did in practice, but thankfully we have not managed to hit the wall there. And as we pick up the slipstream from Rosberg, who double slipstream from him and Verstappen ahead, and we fly past at 230 miles an hour there, a double overtake down the pit straight coming into turn 1. And we are up into P5 there. I have no idea why Rosberg was so reluctant to go past Verstappen there. So even in the slipstream, he's not really gaining that much, and we have come flying out of nowhere and just obliterated both of them down that pit straight. So double overtake for us. That's having to P5 now. So after qualifying P12, that's pretty good work from us here, as we're now looking to pick up the slipstream once again from Sainz ahead. Of course, lap 2, the end of lap 2, so no DRS in action here, and we're doing the same thing again on this time Ricciardo and Sainz getting the double overtake action from ourselves here. We're up into P3. Can you believe it? P12 to P3 in just a couple of laps at the start of this race, as we're now looking at lap 4. Still maintaining P3. We've got yellow flags out. Fernando Alonso is out of the race, as we have a look on the replay camera to see what's going on. Obviously a gaggle of cars here. We wonder if there can be any contact or anything like that. But no, it's just a standard AI engine failure, unfortunately for him. And you can see he's just cruising down the escape route there to get off the track, and that's not going to cause a safety car by the looks of things. So we're sliding and grazing the wall once again, almost Sergio Perez style from real life round here, coming into this sort of left-hand, 90-degree left-hander. We just squeezed Ricciardo on the apex by the looks of things. So it looks like he put his front wing sort of next to our rear tyre, and there really wasn't enough of his car along the side to warrant being left space there, well, in my eyes anyway. And that's caused him to spin. However, cutting now to the end of lap 8, Rosberg, who was ahead of us, who was behind us on the soft tyres. I don't know if he's pitted at this stage. I think he hasn't. But it's just with the sheer pace of that Mercedes, he's managed to catch up to us, obviously, after the hold-up of Ricciardo spinning in front of the rest of the AI. We've got a teammate in the pit lane I think Hamilton has also pitted at some point as well, which is why we're battling over P2 and 3, or P2 with Rosberg and Vettel up the road there. So Hamilton, once again, I believe, going for sort of the more stop action here. So now we're on lap 10, we've got our teammate out of the race, and coming down looks like the pit straight, and the gaggle of 4 cars, and again another engine failure. So that's going to really put some worried faces on the mechanics at the Force India pit wall. And hopefully for us, that's not going to be a sign of things to come here. So we've got yellow flags up ahead, but we're not too worried about that. It looks like that's actually for Perez off in the runoff area down in turn 1. But we're coming into the pit lane here at the end of lap 10. Our pace hasn't been too great, the tyre wear really kicking in, but we're going to stick to our gut feeling of trying to make this one stop work with the soft tyres. You can see Rosberg ahead going onto the mediums, and I believe Vettel doing the same there. So a bit of a differing strategy here, maybe one that's not too clever in retrospect. Obviously, it looks like we haven't got good tyre when we've gone into a softer compounder tyre compared to the AI, to hopefully get us to the end of the race if we can, as we're emerging from the pit lane in P8, just ahead of a few of the back marker cars who obviously haven't pitted yet either, the likes of Palmer just behind, and his teammate Magnussen there. So we're back on track, soft tyres on, new compound. Let's see how we can get on with these, as we're now on lap 15 then, so up into P6 after a few more cars have come into the pit lane. And you can see, picking up a nice slipstream from Sainz, picking up the DRS as well, and just watch that speedo climb as we come right into the DRS zone and the slipstream of Kvyat here. 234 miles an hour, spotting the braking point absolutely perfectly into turn 1, nailing that beautifully, no sign of a lock-up, and we are through up into P4 now, and as I say, just cutting a few more laps later, coming towards the end of the race here, so not too much on-track action going on. So we're just now coming to the back end of the race on our warm soft tyres. Kimi Raikkonen on the medium compound, the more durable compound, and his tyres are holding up a lot better than ours have, that's for sure. As we've now got basically 3 laps of pressure from the Ferrari driver. You can see him coming down this back straight with what looks to be DRS. He's looking down the outside on the racing line, of course, but as long as we spot our braking point, which he's just about to do, leaving space on the exit, but he's not going to trouble us there. We've managed to hold on for now, but this is going to be a real tough battle with the lack of traction we've had this weekend. On top of that, with worn tyres, it's certainly not going to be easy, as we're now just coming through this weaving sort of back straight area of the track, coming down towards the start of the penultimate lap, as we're looking to cover the inside. Raikkonen with the DRS active, but it doesn't look like he's got enough straight line speed for some reason to be able to really take the fight to us in the braking zone. So although he's got the straight line speed to have it get us into turn 3, he doesn't seem to have the straight line speed to be able to challenge us into turn 1, which it's good news for us, because that straight is a lot longer into turn 1 than it is down where we are now coming into turn 3. As of course we're running rich mixture, getting everything we can from the engine. Raikkonen in the slipstream with DRS once more, of course, and we're going to cover the inside, hit the braking point as best we can. We're just about managing to get the car stopped and slowed down in time, but again we're just doing enough to hold on to P4 at this moment of time. I believe it's Rosberg, Hamilton and Vettel ahead of us. I don't know exactly who's actually winning the race at the moment, but my main concern is trying to keep that scarlet red Ferrari behind us as we now come down towards the start of the final lap. We're going side by side, working with the DRS once more, and we are literally wheel to wheel, front wing end plate to front wing end plate, as you can see him just creeping into view there, and just coming into turn 1, holding it around the outside as best we can, and thankfully Raikkonen not being brave enough himself in the braking zone to hold us off and make that move complete. So again, we take back P4 on this final lap of the race. Now again, one of the main areas where Raikkonen's been so strong in his attempted overtakes is coming down into turn 3. He's much further alongside us than he has been before. Again, we're on the inside, we've got track position, we can nail the braking point, pick the apex as best we can, and we can hold him off, as there's no room for him running outside with the wall so close as well. It's a risk that he really doesn't want to be taking, risking that 4th or 5th place for a potential no points finish, as we're just coming to the end of the race, and the tyres have really gone off now. We're locking up, almost losing it into the wall again like we did earlier in the race, and Raikkonen now going up the inside of us into this 90-degree left-hander on the final lap. So Raikkonen now has track position of 4th place ahead of us, as we've got the flat-out run to the line. We've got the straight line speed advantage, we've got the slipstream, we've got the Mercedes engine, we've got the rich mixture, we've got everything at our disposal as we pick up the slipstream nicely, pulling out that on the left hand side, going to pick up the DRS as well, and thankfully for us we've got enough in our locker to take back P4 on the run to the line ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. So Lewis Hamilton is your race winner ahead of Vettel and Rosberg, and we're going to come home in a pretty solid P4, it must be said, here in Azerbaijan for the Baku Grand Prix.
A great win then for the Mercedes team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. and it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So Lewis Hamilton, your race winner today from the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel, Nico Rosberg in third place, picking up the final trophy on the podium. We did come home in P4, as I said, not a bad result considering the shambles of the quality sim in practice and the actual qualifying itself. We really didn't look to have the pace here, but as I said in previous episodes, when you're struggling, you haven't got the outright pace, you've got to just pick up as many points as you can, which is what we have done today here pretty well.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Well, the lead at the top has come down after a poor result for our points leader. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Well, I'm going to have to give it to the Force India driver today. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling instalment of this Formula One season.
So that's the roundup from Crofty and Davidson for part 8 of the F1 2016 career mode here from the Baku City Circuit. We get driver of the day, whoop-de-fucking-do, 12th to 4th, so Button 11th to 6th, not a bad result for him, and obviously Danny Kvyat as well, finally having his life turned around by going from 15th to 8th, which is good for him. But in the Drivers' Championship, our lead has been cut by just over more than half. It was a race win in our favour, however now just 12 points in it between us and Hamilton. An intense battle there, and say we're just about managing to stay ahead of Ferrari in the constructors, but of course we need to really get some developments onto the car if we want to maintain that second place in the constructors. At the end of the weekend here, our resource points, we're building the pot nicely, getting some points into the bank. We're now up to 457, but I don't think that's enough really to be able to put into any development parts just yet. Just a few more coming through there. Thankfully, building the pot a little bit higher than what it was, but again, I don't think that's going to make any difference as such. With the rivalry update, things really looking bleak, it must be said. Hamilton now with 24 points, we have 15, and that is going to be pretty much impossible to overturn with what's left in terms of, he's only got to get 6 points as we head into the next episode. But that has been part 8 of the career mode, as you can see here. With the development points, we have 542. I think we're going to be waiting, obviously, with some high downforce circuits coming up. The likes of Silverstone, of course. Obviously, we've got, I think it's Austria next, isn't it? So maybe if we pick up some upgrade points there, we'll be able to put on a downforce package maybe for the British Grand Prix, see what we can do in front of our home crowd. But for now, that has been part 8. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. So definitely not your run-of-the-mill Grand Prix like a few of the recent ones have with the race win. Hope that surprised a few of you. But for now, that's going to be it. I hope to see you for the next instalment of this career mode on the channel. But until then, it is bye for now. Thank you for watching.